What's up, Middle Georgia Dog Pound? Welcome to another edition of the Middle Georgia Dog Pound Live. I'm your host, Brian. I'm out riding around, checking out the Christmas lights tonight. Fellas, happy Thanksgiving to you.
Happy Thanksgiving, bud.
I think Kevin's muted, but that's okay. He's covering the producer duties for me tonight, so I really appreciate him stepping in and filling in. So we have an annual tradition on Black Friday, that we go out and look at the Christmas lights downtown Macon. And if you guys haven't done so, make sure that you go out, tour downtown Macon. Lots to offer, lots of places to eat. The lights are great. The Macon Pops is our local orchestra, and they put on a great show, and you will get to hear all the sights and sounds of Christmas in downtown Macon, and we thoroughly enjoyed that part of Christmas, and you will too. So please make sure you go out and do that. Every one of the artists are from Macon, Georgia, that are performing, and you will thoroughly enjoy each and every one of those artists. So make sure you go down there and enjoy the lights, because it is great. So, guys, few housekeeping tidbits. As you guys know, if this is your first time on the show, make sure you go to StreamYard.com/Facebook to give StreamYard permission to use your name and your photo so we can see who's commenting. We definitely want to hear from you guys. We'll be glad to show your comments on the show and just have a great time. As you guys already know, we have a email at middlegeorgiadogpound@gmail.com. That's middle G-A Dog Pound, dog spelled like it should be, DAWG @gmail.com. Love to hear from you. If you have a product or a business that you want us to promote on the show, we'd love to have you. Or if you just want to be a guest, hit us up, talk to us. We'd love to have you on the show. So, guys, hey, we got to get into this thing, man. We got to talk about this Tennessee game. What a magnificent thing. But before we jump into it, because there's a lot to talk about, let's watch those highlights.
Wish that I was on old Rocky Top.
Nothing worth having comes easy. You got to go through some pain. You got to go through some fight to get it.
Down in the Tennessee hills.
No one over there is safe. No one is safe. We attack for as long as it takes.
Ain't no smoggy smoke on Rocky Top.
Ain't nobody safe.
Ain't no telephone bill.
Nobody knows who you are, Megan. Nobody knows who you are.
You'll always be
You gotta walk in the village. Come on. We the village right now. AK can't escape now. No ejection button, no aborts, no getting out. They gotta look us in the eye.
12 Hours makes the catch at the 28 for the first down. Delpa's in as one of the tight ends. We roll to the right. Bell to throw a touchdown pass. Yeah! Marcus throws him. Jack Saint.
Come on. Come on.
Bell breaks the tackle at the 6. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Dylan Bell. Throwing one-on-one with Bell. Oh, what a catch. Wow. Beck throws it down the middle. There's Marcus Rosenby. Jack Saint. He caught it at the 11. Rolls right, throws Beck with a scoop catch at the 2. Did he get it? Yeah, touchdown. Brock Bowers.
Our program's built on connection, closure, toughness, and resilience.
Okay? Action on the sideline. Toughness at the line of scrimmage. Resiliency. Stick together when it don't go our way.
Flushed out to the left. Beck lobs it straight ahead. Touchdown, Marcus Rosemy-Jack Saint.
Nickel closer. Okay, we are the environment. We create the noise. Talk your damn pass.
That might send him for the exits. Flushed out, rolls to the right. We're chasing, and Michael Williams will get the sack back at the 25. Dogs again on the doorstep. Handoff, Milton, angles left. Stiff arms a man, 10, 5, hit zone, touchdown right into the checkerboard. Dogs lead it, 37 to 10.
Pretty freaking awesome, guys. Pretty freaking awesome. What a show on Saturday at Neyland, man. From what I understand from folks that went to the game, it was blistering loud at the beginning of the game. And by halftime, all of that had gone away. So, hey, what did you guys take away from the game on Saturday? Kevin, what are your thoughts?
Oh man, where do you begin? It was a shot in the stomach that very first play. They ran it all the way in for a touchdown, and Pete looks over and goes, "Don't worry, guys. It's just the start of the game. This is just the beginning." And buddy, was he right? Was he ever right? Because they did not let up from that point on. They just kept pushing and kept the hammer down, and they didn't let these guys back in the game. And I was talking to y'all before we started the show, and just looking over the stats, and they did not score another point after the first half, and it was just a punt deal. And how about Dylan Bell? That's the guy. I mean, he had the game of his life that game. From the pass to Marcus Rosemy-Jack Saint in the end zone to how many receptions did he have in that game?
I don't even know. A ton.
It's about 7 for 90 yards.
Yeah, 6 or 7. I mean, unbelievable. Probably the biggest game of his life right there. I think you just saw the beginning of Dylan Bell.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt, what was your biggest takeaway from the game on Saturday?
So just to tag on with Kevin about Bell, he's had those spurts for us. Like when he started coming in at running back early on this year, he showed us glimpses of being very versatile, in the passing game and in the rush game. So it's just his options. And I think it goes back to the main thing this year is that we've had a plague of injuries across the board, from offense to defense to starters to backups to whatever. And this always makes like this game here. McConkey is once again very limited, really can't go, and someone else just steps up and takes on the role. And these guys don't get offended; they don't get upset. They root their teammates and say, "Hey, we're all one." 1 + 1 = 3. That's kind of their slogan from last year. Is that it's a whole team effort. And that's what it is. I mean, like last game, Rosemy-Jack Saint had 1 catch for 7 yards, and you didn't hear him complaining. You don't hear him talking about transferring or anything kind of stuff or giving any heartburn, because the next week comes out and he has almost 100 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns. It's just about this game. We're going to expose what these teams are, and this player is going to do it, whoever it may be. I think across the board, it was just really good to see the dominance from it. And I'm telling you now, I hope Tech scores first on tomorrow, and I hope Alabama scores first the next game, because that's our lucky streak is let the other team score first. So we should let this just open the gates, let it run through, score a touchdown, and then we start beating the crap out of them.
Hey, it worked out good this last game. I mean, they exerted no effort on defense, right? None whatsoever. Like 11 seconds, touchdown, no big deal. Now we're going to come back and knock you out.
Yeah,
but I love how their defense doesn't blink. You got one big play on us, but then they come back and it's like they stop you. It was punt, punt, punt. I mean, they got 3 more points after that on our defense, and that was it. These guys locked it down. They made their adjustments, and it was no more after that.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Another thing I love is comments like Grady Darcy's. The Dogs' offense has to look like Freddy Krueger to opposing opponent's defense. I totally agree. Totally agree. And Dad says, "Isn't it wonderful to hear Nealon go quiet?" Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah, it sure is great. But another thing that's great is the great information that you get right here on the Middle Georgia Dog Pound. We had you lined up and ready to go when it was time for that field goal. And Mr. Matt, I'm giving him the nod, sir.
And the last person I'll kind of talk about is their kicking game, their place kicker. He is 15 for 18, which he's missed three. He's missed three, but those three he's missed, 2 out of those 3 have been for 55 plus. So anything from 49 yards in, he's 15 of 16, which is a pretty solid weapon. So we got to make sure we keep them outside of the red zone, putting that pressure on him to make those pressure.
That'll be Charles Campbell. This will be about the extent of his range for sure. It's going to be a 55-yard attempt. He made 5 50-yarders, 50-plus when he was at Indiana before transferring in. This would be his longest as a volunteer. Kick on the way, and it's going to be off to the left. No good.
Man, just called it. And right before he kicked it, he's like, he's going to miss it. Don't worry. Don't worry, guys. And he did. He called it. So nod to you, my friend. Nod to you. That was some good information right there.
Broken clocks right twice a day.
I know, right? Ain't that the truth? So cool. So cool. Yeah, man. I love the fact that, you got guys that are showing up and showing out that normally don't get their name called. And Dylan Bell there at the end of the game, getting his opportunity on national TV to get a pat on the back, right? We were just so hoping that not only would he throw a touchdown, catch a touchdown, but then he would run a touchdown, and we didn't get the trifecta. But hey, nonetheless, it was a great game, and we all walked away with smiles on our face. That is for sure. Anybody else that you guys wanted to highlight?
I mean, I think the defensive line scared that offensive line a lot. I mean, we didn't got a few sacks, which is good, but I mean that defensive line has been told all year long, you're nothing special, and these guys came and they put pressure on him. They made him scared to throw the ball. He got rid of the ball early. Those deep passes that would have been touchdowns last year, maybe by Hooker or whatever it may have been, or even earlier this year. He didn't have time to set his feet. I mean, they got in his face, and it's good to see those guys continue to apply pressure. Maybe not get the sacks, but to apply pressure on those quarterbacks, because we're going to need that in the coming games.
Yep, I could tell you one person that I fell in love with is C.J. Allen, y'all. Oh my gosh, he is going to be a destroyer by the time he's a senior. He's not going to make it to a senior. Let's just be honest. Junior. He is going to be a destroyer, and I feel bad for Pops because he might not get his starting job back. Let's see. Grady Darcy says, myself, Williams, and Nazir Stackhouse. Bullard was bullying them bad. Yes, they were. Those were great call outs for guys on the team that were really making a name for themselves. That is for sure. Well, any other tidbits you guys want to hit on real quick? None?
Keep going for hours. This show would be 2 hours long.
How about this guy right here, man? He's still on the call. Captain Bowers, we thank you, my friend. We thank you.
Yeah, that's for sure. Big time plays all game long.
Yep, absolutely. Look at there. Old Hunter Ivy. Happy Thanksgiving to the Dog Pound crew. Go Dogs. It's good to see you, Hunter.
Yes,
good
sir.
to see you. Well, guys, we are at a point now that we are going to jump on over to Paul's calls. All right, we got some really interesting videos tonight from Paul's calls. A couple videos for safety that how it could have gone a couple different ways. You got a extended celebration in the end zone where every player got a personal foul on them, and so very interesting calls. So you guys take a look at them.
Play 2, the quarterback takes the snap. He's going to run to the corner, and just before he gets back to the line of scrimmage, he throws a pass to the back of the end zone, and the receiver goes up and makes the catch right at the end line. The back judge and side judge both make eye contact and go up with touchdown. Now, as we go back and take a look at the replays here, receiver number 2, he leaps and gains firm control of the ball. But as he comes down with his toes clearly inbounds. And we know by rule the receiver must get a body part down inbounds to complete the catch. But if we have a continuous toe-heel touching as part of a single process, even if the toe is in bounds, but the heel then lands out of bounds, then the receiver is considered to have landed out of bounds and there's no catch. And this is very tight here, but replay sees that the left heel, it touches the ground out of bounds, and you can almost see it bounce back up. And it's hard to see if you go frame by frame, but if you look at the play at a continuous pace, I think you'll agree that that left heel does touch out of bounds, so this is no catch. Replay overturns this to an incomplete pass.
Wow. Yeah, I really I thought that was interesting that that was not a touchdown. But if you guys like that one, you're going to love this one.
Play 4, and staying with punt plays, the offense has 4th and 17, and we're going to get a high snap here. It's going to go over the punter's head, and as he chases the ball down, he's actually going to kick the ball back over the end line. So the result of the play is a safety. But we see that the referee is going to drop his flag in the end zone for illegally kicking the ball. And by rule, no player is allowed to kick a loose ball. So this penalty is enforced from the spot of the foul, which is in the end zone. So the penalty really would result in the safety as well. So on this play, there's no choice. We're going to have a safety. But suppose the punter actually kicked this ball before it got back into the end zone, say at the 2-yard line. Now, if he illegally kicked the ball back through the end zone here, the result of the play is still a safety. But if the defense chose to accept the penalty in this situation, the spot of the foul is now in the field of play. So we'd penalize from the 2, half the distance to the goal back to the 1, and the penalty also carries a loss of down. And since it was 4th down, the penalty would give the ball to the defense, 1st and goal at the 1. So bottom line here, if the action illegally kicking the ball is in the end zone, no choice, it'll be a safety. But if this action is in the field of play, the defense can take the safety by declining the penalty or have 1st and goal by accepting the penalty. Interesting play.
Yeah, that one's interesting to me. So a defense could get their offense the ball on the 2-yard line if they decline the penalty, which is pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, that's wild.
Play 5, we get a pass downfield. It's going to be picked off by number 7 of the defense. He makes a big return coming back across field and is finally tackled at about the 14-yard line. Now, it's a great play, and initially number 7 celebrates with teammates, and we don't get overly technical in that type celebration, but then the action goes over the line, and we see 6 defenders come together. They pose in what appears to be choreographed positions, and this is excessive, and our referee comes in and throws the marker for unsportsmanlike conduct. Now, 6 players participated in the act, but we're only going to penalize one time 15 yards for unsportsmanlike conduct, but we announce the numbers of all participating players and give them what we call an unsportsmanlike counter. And this is important because if any of these players receive a second unsportsmanlike conduct foul in the game, then they would be ejected. This is a good job and good judgment by the officiating crew here.
Not only do I hate Ohio State, but I hate stuff like that. There's no place for that in college football, guys. That is why I don't like the NFL. But that is excellent because somebody's going to do something stupid like that this year, and then they're going to get ejected when they have another personal foul penalty. That is for sure. All right, let's move on.
Our last play this week, we see that the quarterback, he takes a snap, a quick drop, and throws downfield. The ball's going to be batted back in the air, and the quarterback's going to catch the ball before it hits the ground. He then rolls and retreats and then throws downfield, and the ball's going to be intercepted by number 18 of the defense, and then 18 is driven out of bounds. Now, as we go back and break this play down, and we did have a flag down by our referee here, what are the rules governing this play? First, the quarterback is a back, and he is considered an eligible receiver. So it's legal when the quarterback catches his own pass here, and he could catch in advance. But here he's going to throw another pass downfield, and by rule, a forward pass is illegal if it is the second forward pass during the same down. So the pass that was intercepted was illegal, and if the penalty is accepted, it'd be a 5-yard penalty from the spot of the foul and would include loss of down. But here, the defender can decline the penalty and keep the ball after the interception.
I have never, ever seen 2 passes on the same down like that.
No.
We had one
Forward passes, 2 forward passes.
We almost saw it. We almost saw it on Saturday.
That's right.
When he hit his own teammate in the head.
He flunked him. Gave his offensive lineman a concussion on that one.
Yep. So that makes sense, though, why you see these guys who will drag their toes, going out of bounds versus trying to put the stuff down. Because if you put your heel down out of bounds, then you're out of bounds. That's kind of
Yep. All good information. Thank you, Paul Patrisco. Paul's a good friend of the show. Retired SEC official, 25 years officiating with the SEC, and we appreciate him sending us those few videos for us to review. You're only going to get that information in here, right here on the Middle Georgia Dog Pound. All right, guys, it's that time. Good, clean, old-fashioned hate week. Just we hate the brothers of North Avenue, right? So the North Avenue Trade School. But before we get into it, before we start reviewing it, let's watch that highlight, that game trailer.
Big ball game, in-state rivalry. This game means a lot to a lot of people in this state.
Yeah, we make sure we told them some history of this game and understand what it means to our state, our fans.
Temperatures on the field are running a little hotter than usual. This was the scene pre-game.
Oh, bubble! Ball is loose. We scoop it up. Justin Houston, 10, 5. Did he get in? Yes, he did. Touchdown on the near pylon.
Play fake. Murray rolls out to his left, throws it back corner of the end zone. He's there, and he makes the catch. And it's kept by Stafford for the touchdown. Looking in that direction, he'll throw it to Bowers, makes the reaching catch at the 35. Bowers breaking away midfield. Bowers will take it to the house all the way. Touchdown, Brock Bowers.
It's hate week, so it should be 2 teams going right at each other. Great traditional rivalry.
Let's go. Let's go. So if you're a follower of the show, you know for the last couple of years, I have regaled you with the lovely sounds of the Georgia Tech whistle. I will not be doing that this year. I hate that whistle so much that I don't even want to hurt your ears and make you nauseous with the sound of it. But as Grady Darcy reminds us that we're going to Mark Rick Field at Bobby Dodd Stadium. So that is for dang sure. That is for dang sure. So Georgia Tech, their mascot is the Yellow Jacket. This is their live mascot, Buzz. Apparently Buzz won the national championship last year for most enthusiastic and active mascots. So if you guys didn't know that, read up on it. It's pretty interesting. At least they won something. Brent Key is the head coach. Brent Key was a former player with Georgia Tech. He played from 2001 to 2002. And he is back now as the head coach and has got the Yellow Jackets program turned around. They actually look like a football team this year. And so looking forward to a great game there in Atlanta. So Matt, I know you've got some good information for us on some offensive players to be looking out for. And take it away, my friend.
All right, everybody. So let's just get started with some basic overall just statistics on their offense. So look at their offense. Their passing offense averages about 238 yards a game, which is the 53rd in the country. The rushing offense is number 19 in the country. They're rushing for almost 200 yards a game, which is about 196 yards a game, which is pretty good. It's pretty solid for them. So, total offense, they're averaging about 435 yard-ish each game, which is 30th in the country. Like, would go back to what Brian said, which is astoundingly better than they've been in the past few years. So, they are improving. They are it sounds terrible to say that, but they're finally an offensive threat in some sense. So in the red zone, they score about 82% of the time. Which is not great. It's like midway through of all the teams in the country, about 75th in the entire country. The stat that we need to look at, which I think is something that we'll have to look at on our end, is sacks allowed. They only allow about 1 sack per game, maybe a little bit over that. So they're not getting sacked a whole lot. And some of that could be to the play of their quarterback, which we'll talk about in a second. But that's number 15 in the country. So they're not allowing a lot of sacks. That could be getting rid of the ball quicker, or a lot of those quarterback runs that kind of prevent that from happening. But total scoring offense, they average about 32 points a game, which is 37th in the country. So not a terrible offense, not a super flashy offense that's going to wow you and be a spectacle, but still an offense who can score some points. So as we get into their actual players here, we'll start with the quarterback like always. We have Haynes King, not to be confused with Haynes the underwear, but this guy is that guy. So Haynes King, the transfer from Texas A&M, has been the quarterback that first everybody came out, didn't think that he was going to get the job. It was going to be Sims, but he got the job. This guy has been really solid for them this entire year. I mean, they really like his play. They like his mentality of being a warrior in the game, and you got to give it to him. He's played much better than the past couple guys have over the last few regimes there. So he has 2,597 yards passing. He has 624 yards rushing. That's a big weapon for them. He is their second leading rusher as well on their team. So that's something we need to be aware of. If you guys seen this, it's been a trend for us the last 3-4 games. We've had these running quarterbacks. So now we've got this under kind of control. We've had enough practice with it, starting with Missouri and Ole Miss and Tennessee, and now getting into them. We should be prepared and have a good way of strategy of isolating those running quarterbacks, which is going to be even better for us the following Saturday when we get to Atlanta again to take down the Crimson Tide, because the same kind of premise. So we are building ourselves and practicing game time scenarios for these upcoming championship games, which I'm thrilled about. So he's got 26 touchdowns and 15 interceptions. That is a lot. Some of those have been on him. Some of them have been on batted balls and stuff. So you can't put all of it, but still a lot of interceptions for the season. He is definitely a gunslinger. He's going to try to score points. He's going to try to move the ball. Sometimes that comes at a cost of an interception. So I'm looking forward to us hopefully getting at least 2 in his desperation throws to move the ball. He's also got, like I said, he's got 7 touchdowns rushing as well. So he's got 33 total touchdowns for him in general. So he's a good solid quarterback. We'll see some good things come from him, but we're also going to see some bad things when we get those sacks up to at least 2 or 3 a game. I'm hoping this coming tomorrow. As we go to running back, you got Jamal Haynes, the other Haynes they have. So it's Haynes and Haynes. He's got 850 yards rushing for them. This was a guy who was not high on their list, but has come out of nowhere this year and been a solid running back for him. They are his he is their bell cow for them when it comes to rushing. The next 2 guys, so the second leading rusher is the quarterback. The third and fourth rushers are together. They don't have nowhere near amount of attempts as him or yards as him. So I didn't even put them on this stat. He's going to be their main focus. We will see the other 3 running backs as well, or maybe 2 other running backs through this process, but he's going to be their main ball carrier for them. He's got 7 touchdowns. He's averaging 6 yards a carry, which is great. He's also got about 150 yards receiving with a touchdown as well. So he's also going to be a passing threat in the back, coming out of the backfield. So getting to the receivers, we have Singleton. Singleton Jr. and Rutherford here. Singleton has about 610 yards receiving with 6 touchdowns, averages about 14 yards a catch, and Rutherford is 442 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns, and average about 10 yards a catch. Well, so you look at the math here. I mean, they spread the ball around a lot to different kinds of receivers, but these are going to be their main 2 you're going to see a lot of. Like I said, once again, these are the main guys who have their receptions. They're going to be their main focuses. Will they be the only guys who catch balls? No, they will not, but these are their main focuses. As we get to our next slide, I can't remember if I picked. Yeah, so these are our guys we have from a familiar face. Kept them on here just so we can kind of remember the guys who left us this past year, went to Georgia Tech, which is Blaylock and Seether. Blaylock is their 3rd leading receiver there for them. Good for him. I mean, I love this kid. He played for us so many years. I mean, it was really hard to see him get injured his freshman year and just really never made it back to where he was coming out of high school. But still a solid player for them. We know he has good hands. He's a good route runner. He'll be looking to really make an impact against his old team. Seether there doesn't have a lot of yards, but he's got 4 touchdowns. So he gets into the red zone. They're going to be looking for him as well in the red zone to catch some balls. If you guys have watched their games in the past, that's what he does. He gets in there. He's a bruiser for them blocking, but then gets in those red zone areas and opens up lanes for them to get some balls to him. The last person I have on here is, once again, I'm going to give more shout out to the kicker. Their kicker has only missed 1 field goal all year long. He's only made 12 attempts, but he's only missed 1 field goal. So I'm going to say again here, if all his field goals have been made under 40 yards. The one miss he has is between 40 and 50 yards. He has had no attempts over 50 yards. So my prediction will be, if we get in that range, it's 50 yards, they're not going to let him kick the ball. They're going to be going on some 4th downs. So be prepared for that we need to make sure our defense is in a good shape, ready, or has a pre-plan for that. Because if they're in that general area, they're not going to punt. They're going to go for on 4th down and try to continue with the ball. But inside of 40 yards, this guy's pretty solid. He's going to make those field goals. So be a lookout for that. Over that, give it over to defense.
Okay, I was muted. Thank you, Matt. I apologize. I was muted, guys. Matt, thank you so much for those the offensive update there. Kevin, jump right in here and get us up to speed on our defense.
All right. Go over a generalization of this team, kind of get some numbers. Georgia Tech is the number 116th ranked total defense with 438 yards per game. That is number 51 in passing, giving up 215 yards per game, number 128 in rushing with 223 yards per game. That is 3rd from last in the ranking of rushing yards given up. And Georgia is number 4 in offense now. They've moved up a spot since last week, averaging 501 yards per game total. With that being said, the first group of guys I want to highlight is the defensive lines. These 2 guys, one is Kyle Kennard. He's number 9. He is a 4th-year junior out of Atlanta, Georgia. He's a defensive end, 6'5", 238. He is 6th in tackles on the team with 48 total tackles, 20 sacks for a loss of 25 yards. He has 1 interception, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 fumble recoveries himself. And he was the number 77th ranked player out of the state of Georgia when he came out of high school. and he's played in every season for Georgia Tech so far. And last season, he tallied 19 tackles, 4.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. So this is a well-experienced defensive end. I know that their defense doesn't show that with the numbers, but these guys are experienced. And the second gentleman there on the top is Eddie Kelly. He's number 97. He's out of Orlando, Florida. He's 6'4". He is 8th on the team in tackles, 36 total, 13 solo. He has a half sack for a loss of 10 yards. He has 1 pass deflected. He's a transfer from USF and from the 22 season, where he amassed 19 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 1 fumble recovery. He's trying to make the most out of his time of transferring to a larger school. So you can imagine this is going to be his first time playing UGA, so he's going to try to make a name for himself and be noticed on that field. Next is our linebacking core. First, I'd like to highlight a guy named Kyle Efford. He's number 44. He is a redshirt freshman, 6'2", 219. He's out of Toccoa, Georgia. He leads the team in tackles. He's with 64 total and 26 solo, with 1 sack and 1 interception. Last season with Georgia Tech, he played in only 4 games and recorded 1 tackle against UGA. So UGA was one of those games that he played in last year. He now leads the team in tackles from last year. So it kind of puts into perspective what a year makes in this program and what a good coach can do with a good player. He recorded 11 total tackles last week against Syracuse. So this guy is a big time player on their defense, and you can listen for his name to be called this week. Secondly is Paul Moala. He's a senior out of Indiana. He's 6 foot 229. He is 5th in tackles on the team with 52 total, 28 solo. He is 4th on the team in sacks with 2 sacks for loss of 17 yards, 2 passes deflected, and 3 forced fumbles. He is a transfer from Idaho from the 22 season, where he amassed 12, where he played in 12 games and has 61 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 4 interceptions. And before that, he played 4 seasons with Notre Dame in the 18 through 21 seasons, and he played in 23 games for them. So these guys are well experienced. They've been, especially the senior there, Moala, he's been all over the country, played in multiple defensive schemes. So these are guys that have seen multiple offensive schemes and are going to be ready to make that impact on that defensive side of the ball. Thirdly, highlight a few DBs. These are a few safeties. Clayton Powell Lee. He is a sophomore out of Atlanta, Georgia. He's number 5. He's 2nd on the team in tackles with 60 total tackles, 26 solo, 2 passes deflected, and 1 interception. Last season, he finished 3rd in the ACC Rookie of the Year category. But he played in all 12 games and only started in 6 of those games. And he had 48 tackles. This was only in his 2nd year, and he's already a difference maker on Georgia Tech defensive side of the ball. He recorded 9 tackles in the UNC game alone. Secondly is Jalen King. He's a safety, number 14. He is a 6th-year senior out of Tennessee. He's third in tackles with 60 total, 33 solo, 7 passes deflected, leads the team in interceptions with 4 total interceptions. He was injured after 5 starts last year, but he still had 32 tackles last year on the team. Thirdly is Lamilus Brooks. He is a 4th-year junior out of Jacksonville, Florida. He's 4th in tackles with 56 total, 33 solo, 1 interception, and 6 passes deflected. And he played in all 12 games last season. So these are just a few of their skilled players. They're well-experienced guys. You're going to see these guys to try to make a difference on that side of the ball. I know the numbers as far as their total defense do not reflect that, but these guys have been kind of exposed with the offensive woes, you might say, some trouble scoring. These guys want to get a big statement win, so they're going to do everything they can to put up a good fight against the number 1 team in the nation. But this is not the same Tech defense that we've seen over the past several years. They're going to be playing a different scheme. They're going to be playing much more physical. So just be ready for them.
Absolutely. Hunter Ivy brings up a good point. Says it's been a while since UGA played Georgia Tech at 7:30. So the last time a 7:30 kick was 2009. Joe Cox was the starting kick QB. Most people don't even know who that is.
No.
Let's see. Grady Darcy says Kirby is going to go with a wedgie defense for Haynes.
That's pretty good.
I like it. Any concerns? I mean, I hate to say it, but I really just don't have any concerns with Georgia Tech, and I don't think most Georgia fans really do. What could be something that throws a monkey wrench in things? I know we just tied Alabama's record, right, for 28 straight wins. One more, we break that record, we hold it. Probably will never be broken again. What could throw a monkey wrench in those plans?
Complacency. I think complacency is the biggest deal. And I think the only way that Georgia could lose is if they beat themselves, and that's with complacency. But that's one of those big things that Kirby has preached all year long, preached against all year long, is to stay away from being complacent. Live in the moment by moment. And if they do that, I don't really have any other concerns but that.
I don't either. Matt?
So not that I have concerns about this game in particular, but I would say the concerns I have are still accruing more injuries. That's what I get. That's what I'm concerned about, that we're looking ahead to the next week, and in that piece become maybe a little lackadaisical in our play and injuries happen. Or these guys, like you said, Kevin said, they want a statement win. They want to come out and show that they're not the little brother anymore, and they're going to do they may take some shots they wouldn't normally take, on a tackle or on an ankle or on a leg or whatever it may be, and we get someone injured. So I mean, we have survived a lot of injuries, and I know we would never. I don't want to put that out in the atmosphere, but there are a few players that if we would lose, I'm not sure the season would really. I mean, let's be honest. If Beck goes down, that would be a travesty. Mm. I mean, yeah, we don't want Bowers to go down. He's a great player and all, but I mean, Beck has been the one solid player throughout the entire year. And we were talking about during the game last week, watching it. It's 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. We're up by 4 scores. Why is he still in the game? And so, that's my mindset of we still need to protect these guys. I know attrition and, keeping guys, in game, the physical play, not that they can get tired, because they're going to play fourth quarter games here moving on. They really will be. They're going to need him to have that endurance, but that's not the game to do it, in my opinion. But that's me. That's why I'm here on StreamYard and not making 8 figures. I'm not making 8 figures in Athens. Exactly. So
That's right.
I don't know. So that's my thing is I worry about injuries. That's my main concern.
Yep. Well, you didn't sit by Nick Saban either and tell him that Alabama was irrelevant anymore. So
That's
you
right.
didn't do that either. So
That's right.
look where it landed him. So
Yeah, I do have feelings. I think I'm not sure if I'm correct. I do remember watching the game where Aaron Murray tore his ACL. I'm not sure if it was in Atlanta or not, or it was in Athens, but that was kind of things I'm talking about. Having a great season, was going to go get into the draft, and then bam, you tear your ACL or whatever it was for him. And I think that was I think that still was in Atlanta. I'm pretty sure. And just stuff like that just kind of makes you. And then it happened again to Hudson Mason too, his last game at Georgia Tech as well. And so those two guys both going down was in their last game at Tech is kind of one of those, I don't want to see that happen to anybody.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, guys, we are at this point. It is time for the pick 'em. All right. Well, Mr. Matt, he hit rock gold last week, and he nailed it, man. He is right back tied up with me. I don't know. I went with my heart on a lot of these picks last week instead of going with my gut. Should have went with my gut, and I would have been a lot better off. But that's okay. 37-25. But I think it's going to come down to the last game here, isn't it, buddy?
Mm-hmm.
It is coming down to it. All right. Well, let's see what we got. All right. Oregon versus Oregon State. All right. This is a tough one. It's at Oregon. I think that Oregon wants to continue their winning streak, and they are going to win big here at Oregon. They want to make a statement win because they want to be in the college football playoff after the Pac-12 championship. So I'm going to go with Oregon on this one. Matt?
I'm going to follow with you. I think that's Oregon it's a better team. I mean, simple as that. I mean, they give us some points on defense from time to time, but I think they're a more, just a more electric, more explosive team on both sides of the ball. And so, I'm simple as that. I think I'm going to go Oregon.
Dad's going 41-21 Oregon. Let's go. I like it. Grady Darcy said the Ducks 48, the Beavs 20. Woo! That's giving up a lot of points to the Beavers. Uyunglele is going to have to really step it up this week. All right, Kevin?
I think this is going to be a little bit closer game, but I'm also going with Oregon 34-28.
I like it. I like it. Let's see. Anybody else coming through with some predictions here? I don't see any. All right, well, let's head on over to the next game then. Clemson and the Gamecocks. Woo! Let's see. Here's one that just came through. Hunter Ivy says Oregon State is a good team in the rivalry games. You never know, but Oregon wins 35-28. That's a lot of points, man. For a Dan Lanning defense, I think that's going to be a tall order for Oregon State to score 28 points. But I have been wrong. I was wrong last week, and I'm sure I will be wrong again. All right, moving on to Clemson at South Carolina. I just think South Carolina is injury. They've got riddled with injuries. They do not have the offensive line, nor do they have the defense to hold up against Clemson, and I think Clemson rolls. They've got a statement to make in this one. They're going to punch South Carolina in the mouth on this, and I think Clemson wins this one big. What you think, Matt?
I think I'm like you. Same thing. I really want South Carolina to win this game. I just don't think they don't have the defense to stop them. Definitely not the run defense to stop them. So I'm with you. I think the Clemson will win this game, which stinks because I really wanted the South Carolina to win this game.
Yeah, I agree with you. Let's see. Dad says Clemson 34-24. Grady Darcy says just flush it. Clemson and the Chickens 31 to Clemson and 28 to Chickens. Hunter Ivy says Clemson has been on fire the past few weeks and Clemson hugs 51. Wow. That's a lot of points. Hunter, I'll buy you some chicken wings if you get that one right, buddy. Woo! That's a lot of points for Clemson to score. Kevin, what do you think, buddy?
I'm also going with Clemson in this one. You can't go with South Carolina. They're just, like you said, they just
too
tore up.
unpredictable.
You never know what you're going to get, and more times than not, it's the bad version.
Yeah. All right. I think this is the game of the week right here, y'all. Ohio State and Michigan. All right, this is where it gets interesting. So, Michigan no longer has their sign stealer. And Ohio State is really pissed off about getting beat 2 years in a row, right? But they are playing at Michigan, right? And I believe it's a 3:30 game?
No, it's a 12 o'clock game.
It's a 12 o'clock game. Wow.
Noon kickoff.
They always play early for some reason.
If they win, do you think the offensive coordinator cries again?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then I'm going Michigan, but by 3. Michigan by 3, and the offensive coordinator gets on live TV and cries again like a baby. All right, Kevin, what you think? Since I've been calling on Matt,
I'm going to go complete opposite, but exactly the same. I got Ohio State by 3 because
wow,
I think this is the year that Ohio State beats Michigan at home.
Wow. Yeah, Matt sent us a text message earlier this week. He says Ohio State, their mascot is the Buckeye, but that's a nut, right? So why don't they just call them the Buck Nuts?
And then I sent you a nice picture.
You did.
I'm glad you did put that picture.
We're trying to keep it PG.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that picture. That picture is family friendly.
Yeah. All right. John Akaki says Ohio State by 10, 31-21. Wow. Oh, now that's a score. If I've ever seen a score.
Yep.
Really? Wow. OSU 6, Michigan 3. Wow. Grady Darcy says the worst conference in college football. Michigan 24, Ohio State 28. Tears abound. Wow. All right. Hunter Ivy says the Bucknuts 31, the Cheaters 20.
I'd like it.
Oh, dude, that was amazing. That was amazing. All right. John Akaki's a little bit behind us. He says Clemson by 3, 17-14. All right. All right, Matt. Give me your prediction.
So this is like you for like last week. I want to go with my gut, but I'm still struggling between my gut and my heart, right? I don't want Michigan to win anything. I really don't, because I don't want them anywhere near the playoff. Even though I think the committee's gonna try all the best they can to do is get both these teams in there again. But I don't think also at the same time, neither one of these aren't the schools like they were last year, right? Last year these schools were offensively on fire. Defenses were pretty stout. Besides Ohio State didn't have a great defense, but they were on fire teams. This year, these teams they peaked early and they have just mellowed out these last few weeks. Like these last 4 or 5 games, they're barely winning these games. Even though the media tells you, oh my gosh, Michigan's blowing out these teams. They're destroying these teams. You look at the stats, and it's like the same amount of yards, same amount of first downs. The points are 3-4 different. I mean, they're not really blowing anybody out. So I really don't know who to take here. But I think Ohio State has played a slightly tougher schedule. Michigan, outside of Penn State, which is a mediocre team at best, their next best win is a bunch of 500 teams. They have not played anybody with 7 wins. Everybody's had 6 wins or less besides Penn State. And they barely beat Penn State. So I don't really know what we're going to get. I'm going to go with Kevin on this. I'm going to go with Ohio State for the upset. I just think that if that quarterback can play somewhat decent and get the ball into Marvin Harrison Jr.'s hands, they can create some plays. I just don't know what Michigan has. I'm actually concerned that Michigan's going to beat the crap out of them because they're holding back all their stuff because their season's been so easy. They've been able to keep stuff back and not play their full potential because they haven't had to. And now they're going to just blow off the doors in this game, and they could beat them by 30 points. I just don't know. But I'm going to go Ohio State. That's what I'm doing. Sorry.
Well, I'm not selling my Michigan stock. I've been thinking they're gonna run the gamut here, so I still think that's going to be the case. Grady Darcy says, I think you're right. ESPN is doing everything they can to get both in the playoffs. They are definitely doing it. John Akaki says, 9 Finger sounds better. Can we get a name change for Matt like 9 Lives stuff? Good one. All right. Let's get to some surprise picks here, guys. Some surprise picks. We're going to go with Georgia Southern at Appalachia State. This one's Mr. Matt. Tell me why you picked this game.
These two teams have been rivals back into their before they came into the FBS and stuff. So these guys have been rivals forever. This is Rivals Week. They came into the FBS league together. They are not too far. I mean, they're not like super far apart from school wise. I mean, a few hundred feet, a few hundred miles, right, Max? They have been rivals for a long time, and so this being Rivals Week, them being a hometown, like a home state team, I want to kind of highlight some of our home state teams, and so with Georgia Southern here, both of them, are about the same kind of average team too as well. I mean, I think Georgia Southern has one more win than Appalachian State does, but still both have. Is it the other way around?
Yeah.
I thought Georgia Southern was 8-3 and Appalachian State was 7-4.
Georgia Southern is 6-5 and App State is 7-4.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant. I'm sorry. So yeah, I apologize. I'm thinking about somebody else. I'm thinking about Mercer. I apologize. But yeah, so that's that kind of mindset. You just don't know who you're going to get. Like Kevin said, you don't ever bet against Appalachian State because they came off a big win last week. So you just don't know what you're going to get. So I'm just kind of curious.
All right, you want to make a pick?
Yeah, Georgia Southern.
I like it. Let's see. Grady Darcy says App State wins. Giant killer. Ask Michigan. I think App State pulls this one off too. As much as I want to pull for Georgia Southern, that would be my heart. I'm going to go with my gut and go App State on this. Dad says App State wins the game. And John Akaki says App State because Boone, North Carolina is special to me. Hard not to go with App State. Just beat JMU. Oh, yeah, they did, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Kevin, what you think, buddy?
Like Matt said, it's hard to bet against App State. It's hard to sell them short, but I think that they are riding high from that win, knocking off that undefeated team last week, and I think Georgia Southern is going to come on their home field and upset them. So I'm picking Georgia Southern.
Wow. Okay.
Now I'm screwed. Kevin's picking the same ones I am. Not to mention, Kevin's got some news about Georgia Southern, right?
Yep. Savannah was accepted to Georgia Southern, and she was accepted into the honors program at Georgia
Southern. Awesome.
That's right.
Pretty happy
Congratulations.
about that.
Should be.
Yep, absolutely. All right, let's see. Hunter Ivy says, App State coming off the big win against JMU. Give me Georgia Southern by 6. Look at that. Hunter Ivy and Kevin thinking alike. That's pretty scary. John Akaki says to remember your pick'em classes, Kevin. You got to make sure you attend. Grady Darcy
I'm
says,
sure I'll get plenty of them from you on the ride up tomorrow.
That's right. Grady Darcy says, congrats on the acceptance, Kevin. That's awesome. Yep. All right. Mercer and GW. What does GW stand for?
Gardner
Webb University. I have no idea about Gardner Webb, so I'm going with Mercer. I mean,
there you go. That's simple.
So there you go. It's pretty easy. Playing at home, going with Mercer. All right, Matt, what you think?
I'm gonna go with Mercer too. I think it's a home game for them. I hope they can sell out the 5-star stadium and make it loud for them, and really just come home with their. I think this is their first appearance in the playoff for them. as when they got into this to the new conference and the new league. And so I'm really hoping they continue this winning ways, because if they win this game, this one's going to be really hard.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hunter Ivy wants you to know, Kevin, that he aced his pick'em classes as the valedictorian.
Well, I'm glad I picked the same as you there, Hunter.
That's right. Dad says Mercer 37-24. Grady Darcy says the Bears. I like it.
Yes.
Mercer. Hunter Ivy says Mercer by 10. Kevin, what say ye?
I am also going with Mercer. I was talking with Matt before we got on, and I was just going over the numbers, and they do not have much of a pass game. This kid that they've got as quarterback, he's only thrown for 992 yards, and the Mercer quarterback Peavy has thrown for over 2,000 this season. So, with just that alone, it just seems like this Garner Webb team is just one dimensional, and I think that Mercer can overcome that. And I've got Mercer winning pretty substantially, like 32-21.
Wow. John Akaki says Kings Mountain, North Carolina goes down in defeat. Mercer by 14. I like it. All right. So the game of the night. Here we go. Georgia Tech. Obviously, I'm taking Georgia. I think we're all taking Georgia. But let's make this thing interesting. How long does Carson Beck stay in the game? And how long do we see Brock Bowers in the game? I'm going Carson Beck, first play of the third quarter. After that, no more. Brock Bowers, probably the same. I think they both come out at the same time. What you think?
So I will say, historically, Kirby does not take their quarterbacks out until after the first series of the fourth quarter. So that's what I would say. If we're up by 24 points or more, he'll come out after the first series in the fourth quarter. So you're looking like, if depending on how we get who has the ball or whatever. I'm talking about minute 12, minute 10 in the fourth quarter.
All right, so historically this season, when we've had a large spread such as what we have here, 24-point spread, Georgia has not covered the spread. Do we cover the spread this time?
Not by my score, which I'll reveal in a little bit.
Ooh. All right, Kevin, what you think?
I think that Beck stays in until the start of the fourth quarter, but I think they pull Bowers earlier than that. I think they pull him probably mid third quarter.
I agree.
Just because the offensive line has done such a good job of protecting Beck. I don't think they're too concerned about him when it comes to Georgia Tech, but you're putting Bowers out there in the open to get pounded. So the less strikes you can have on his body, the better.
Grady Darcy says mid third quarter. Brock doesn't come out in the second half. When Tech's cheerleaders come out, we hear, "How about them dogs?" All right, what's your score prediction, Matt?
So I have 42-20. So right under the point spread. So 22 points is what I think we'll be at.
Wow. So you don't think we can hold them to the teens, huh?
So I think it will be like the trash time stuff.
Okay.
More like we've had when we played, oh my gosh, so we played Florida, we played other teams where we're substantially ahead and we let them score like the last, drive of the game in the trash time. So where it really doesn't matter. That's kind of where people got to realize some of our statistical numbers when it comes to our defense are inflated because teams that we already had beat, we had fourth and fifth and walk-ons on defense. They scored a final touchdown to get to like 21 or 22 points or whatever, right? So I think that's why I got my 20 points there. I think it'll be 42-13, and everybody will be out, and they'll score like a late minute touchdown or something.
I like it. Well, I'm gonna go 42-17, and then we cover the spread.
Like it. Take it too.
All right.
43-10.
43-10. All right. Dad says 41-13. John Akaki says 31. Dogs by 31. 47-16. Says we rushed for 310 and passed for 275. I like it. Hunter Ivy says the B2B connection comes out early, late third, early fourth.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. UGA does cover with a final score of 51-17. I'd like that score. I hope it is that. Grady Darcy says 51-9. Now that's bold right there. Let's go, Grady.
Yeah.
We know who's got the gonads. Let's go.
The buck nuts.
That's right. Let's go. All right. Any final thoughts, my friends? Any final thoughts before we sign this thing off?
I remember one of my memorable games from the past Georgia Tech is when we went down 20-0 when we had Hudson Mason in there, and he came back and won the game. So it was a great game ultimately. But I remember watching that game like, oh my gosh, we were down 20-0 at almost at halftime. So I don't want to see one of those games. I want to see where we come out hair on fire, dominate the game from the get go, and we already have our whiteboard saying we own this state by halftime.
Yep. I like it. I think for me, the thing that I want to do is I want to just soak this game in, right? It's the last game of the regular season. Have an opportunity to make history with 29 straight wins as a program. We talk about it all the time on this show that we're living in the good old days. We're going to look back at these times that say, gosh, I can't believe that we actually got to live through that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's so many people that, only got to experience the 80s, right. The early 80s and didn't live to watch the dogs reign on high like we're seeing right now. So I just really want to be cognizant of that. And, a lot of these players that we have on the team, this is their last regular season game that they'll play in the uniform. And I just want to see each one of them do something special. Think about Cedric Van Pran. I think it's 40. This will be his 42nd straight game or something like that. I think that's what it is. That's unheard of in college football to go 42 straight starts. And so he's a special player. A lot of players are going to be missed. We'll get to see him in the NFL, and you get to see people like Jalen Carter that are playing in the NFL right now, just destroying people, and you go, oh gosh, okay, that's why he really was that good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just encourage everybody to soak it in and enjoy this last regular season game. Kevin?
I don't know. There's more to follow up from that. I just wanted to get off the Jittery Joe coffee before the game starts, man. So they actually will actually get their lanes, and referring to the defense will maintain their lanes on the first drives of these games, man. I just want to see one game where we do not give up in an opening game
touchdown.
score.
Yeah,
I'm just tired of it. That's one thing, and it sounds kind of selfish or bold to say that, really, but because they've come out and won pretty substantially. But I just want to see our defense get better. I think that's my big thing. Is I want to see them make that step, because that's the one point that they can improve on. If you're looking for things you can improve on, and they preach things. There's always something that you can improve on. Well, that's one with the defense. So that's where I'd like to see the improvement this week.
Absolutely. Well, guys, let's send this thing out right. All right, so we're heading up to also known as Mark Rick Field at Bobby Dodge Stadium. Going to be sending a khaki and old Kevin up there. Going to be yelling loud. We want a khaki to come back hoarse, where he can't talk.
Matt,
and then absolutely, Matt. So bring back the win, guys. I'm Brian, Matt, Kevin. Welcome to Georgia. We love you.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.